Good morning. Okay, y'all, it's too early. Good morning. Awesome sauce and good morning, virtual world. So today's presentation is going to be the state of fashion post-COVID. Listen, I know we are tired of COVID because I am, but you know, we got to press on, press forward, all of that. So I guess you're like, who is this gentleman with this red top and these glasses and all of that? So here I am, Dr. Courtney Hammond is my name. And a little bit about me is I consider myself a multi-dimensional storyteller. I heard you say that earlier, with comprehensive experience in fashion, higher ed, and HR at some of the world's top luxury brands and top tier universities. I have since started a consulting brand named after myself, Ka & Co. I'll talk about that a little bit further. It's an Atlanta-based boutique consulting firm with a global reach. I'm not gonna read all of this. And a few brands I work with, you can read here. And I also started a blog during the pandemic called Prescriptions with Dr. Ka. And it's a microblog podcast dedicated to contemporary creatives. And how I really started that is because I came to this aha moment, like, what is next for me? Anybody ever had that question? Like, as a creative, we're all trying to figure out what's next. How do we continue to progress on with our brands, our ideas, just who we are? And during the pandemic, we all had to kind of shift and pause and pivot, right? So what I did was I had this God idea, not to put my beliefs on you all, but that's just me. I had a God idea and it just kind of downloaded as I was writing, sitting in front of my computer. And I said, well, what is next? And so I just heard this audible voice, write down everything you've done. And I'm like, okay, that sounds very strange. So I wrote down everything I did. And then I started looking and then I started compartmentalizing everything I've done. And it came with my initials. So creative, academic, and HR. So in my career, what I've done, and now I work as a global ambassador for the island of St. Lucia. So I live part in Atlanta and part in St. Lucia. And I'm a global mentor for the Startup Bootcamp based out of Milan. So I work with a lot of startup companies, working with their brands from idea to conception. And I work from that piece, we hand them over to potential investors. So one of the groups that I'm working with now is called Beyond the Runway. And they're actually having a pitch later on today with our money. So I'm so excited about that. So all of that to say, let me kind of break up the monotony because I want to tell you a little bit about my journey, because I think that's how it starts before I get into why we even talking about the state of fashion. I did not start in fashion. So no degree of mine is in fashion, but all of my professional experience is. So I came from a family of very strict entrepreneurs, teachers, educators, and pastors. So my mother was a model. So if you ever heard of Ebony Fashion Fair, all of that, my mother was an Ebony Fashion Fair model. We grew up in Berlin, Germany. I'm from Columbus, Georgia originally, but my father is a pastor. So I went from the runway to the pulpit, figure that out later. So it's been an interesting journey. But as I was in high school, I just had this aha moment, like, what do I want to do? Everybody just assumed it was going to be fashion, as I did. Had a full scholarship to FIT, and my relatives did not let me go. Cussed them out in my head, because I clearly could not do that in person. So what that meant, though, is that I had to have a contingency plan. So I went to the Alabama State University, the HBCU, yes. You went to Alabama State. Come on through now. I knew I liked you. I knew it. Come on now. Yes. I'm a proud graduate of the Alabama State University. And so from that, though, honestly, and so I was an elite model, all of that. I was in the theater with Dr. Tommy Stewart, all of that. But I majored in special education. And in that trajectory for me, I still was fashion. And so everybody knew me on the yard. And, you know, I was that popular, quiet guy, if that makes sense. So I was in Tribe of Judah. I'm one of the founding members of that. All of that, I'm a Kappa, Beta, Zeta, all of that. So with that said, it was just a lot of opportunities that were presented, but sometimes it's not about the degree that you're in, you have to create your own space. So once fast track, and then because I want to get into the presentation, fast track, I graduated at Alabama State University. I taught special education about 5 years and I hated it. I love the students, but I'm a creative and I'm like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing with my purpose. So moved to Atlanta, taught special ed there, but as I was getting my master's, I was in a class just like this. And my teacher said, can't your final project, you're gonna have to work with a business partner. How many of y'all like working with partners? I don't. Especially when it comes to a grade now, because I need y'all to pull it up now. You need to do your part. And we worked, and then we went to Phipps Plaza, one of the malls in Atlanta, and we had lunch. I believe business decisions are made over lunch and golf. And so we went to lunch, and we were sitting at the Tavern restaurant at the time, and we started walking around Phipps Plaza, and she says, welcome to our project. We were in front of a brick and mortar store that was being built. And I said, well, what does this mean? Her and her husband were opening a high-end women's boutique. And she asked if I would work for them on the weekends. So I started working for them on the weekends while I was teaching special ed. Why am I saying all this to you all? Because sometimes as creatives, we think that we have to have an idea of what success looks like. And we often feel as if it's only one approach to that, or one lane to get to purpose. And that's where I was thinking. I was 23. And so I started working for them in the boutique on the weekends, 5 days a week, and teaching special education. And during the week, everybody would come in asking for me. And so her and her husband, like, who is this Courtney? And so long story short, they offered me a managerial position. I said, that's cute, but my parents are a little crazy. They just paid all this money for me to get an undergrad and a master's degree. Let me say this. So I had an MBA at this point with her, my business partner. I'll get into that. And I said, go and pray about that, because I don't think that's what he's telling me. Because I don't think I need to be working about a boutique as a manager. And nothing wrong with that, but coming from what I was doing, because I made a good salary teaching. 2 weeks later, they came back and offered me 40% of their business, no money down. At that point, I became the youngest minority to own a high-end women's boutique in Phipps Plaza. Immediately, I became the buyer, I became the HR director, and I became the manager at once. And so, as you heard me say, I grew up in Berlin, Germany for 6 years. So part of the buying process was going to Germany, Milan, and Italy. Milan, Italy, and then going to Berlin, Germany, going to a lot of the trade shows. So I was able to speak the language. So that's another point that I'm going to mention. Post-COVID, you're going to have to be able to speak the language, because fashion is a universal language, right? So I was able to come back, have some unique items in the boutique that nobody else was having. So fast track to all of that. We were right next to, so imagine this is the mall. The room right across where you all were earlier was Lord and Taylor. That was the anchor store in the mall. Oh God, I'm aging myself for real. And so we had a lot of foot traffic coming from Lord and Taylor. And 3 weeks into our second year, Lord and Taylor sent out a notice that they were closing. They closed. 3 weeks later, we closed. I lost everything I had. I lost my business, I lost my car, I lost my house, and almost my mind. At 23, I'm very serious. I almost had a nervous breakdown. And I had to move back to Columbus with my relatives for 3 months only. Let's be clear about that. And with a MBA, I had to file bankruptcy. I did not know business credit and personal credit. With an MBA, so I'm telling y'all. So I had everything in my personal credit, not my business credit. So I teach people from the perspective of what I have done and not to do again. Okay, so the state of fashion to me is very pivotal when it comes to understanding the business of fashion as well. So I had to give you that. And then I end up at Neiman Marcus in Atlanta at Lenox Mall as the brand ambassador for Luxottica. Luxottica is the parent company of Gucci, Oliver Peoples, Chanel eyewear. So I did that for 1.5 years at Neiman's on the sales floor with a master's.
Oh, wow.
With a master's degree. My first year, I made $75,000 on commission sales. The second year, I made almost double that. Then I turned in my letter of resignation, they wouldn't take it. So here's my next point. In the post of fashion, the state of fashion post-COVID, no one in this room or no one in the fashion or the creative space has an opportunity to let an opportunity pass them. You need to be as good or better than your competition, because that is just that. Everyone is your competition at this point. So what are you bringing to the table that is different, that's innovative? I love that keyword, innovation. So with that, I turned it in, they wouldn't let me do it. And I said, I'm quitting. I'm not, what part y'all don't understand about this? So, that's foreign to me. I'm quitting. Y'all won't let me do that. And so they said, no, you're too valuable to our brand. They gave me a 30-day sabbatical, unpaid, but it was a guarantee to keep my job. The same day that happened, you can't make this up, my business partner from my boutique called me. She had moved back to Nassau, Bahamas with her husband, reopened the boutique, and asked me to come over. And how many days do you think she asked me to come? 30 days.
Wow.
I was there on Cable Beach. We rehired, I hired, trained, all the stuff that I was doing. And then we relaunched, reimagined the boutique. That's where I'm going with this, because the state of fashion, when it comes to post-COVID, you have to reimagine what you did before and do it in a different way. Okay. And so from that, we did that. I came back to Neiman's. And there was a sign, and as big as this, with all the open positions that were available. And the first one was assistant HR manager. Here's another point. During post-COVID, never allow people to know all of your skill sets up front. How many of you all ever played spades? Okay, when you play spades, you can't let everybody know you got a good hand, right? You need to pull that hand when you need it. So I pulled that hand when I needed it, because I keep a resume and I keep a power suit on me. So I gave my resume to my manager. He was like, you're not qualified for this position. Give it to HR. 3 weeks later, I was the assistant HR manager at Neiman's for 8 years. And I hired most of the people and trained all of the people. And I left in 2010. And it's a remnant of people that are still there from when I hired them. I'm not saying any of this to brag, I promise you that. I'm giving you the trajectory of my career and letting you know the failures too. Because I think what's so important is to understand not just the successes, but what have you gone through, the trenches, because people don't want to share that piece. Okay. And so I was there for 8 years, and I said, here we go, what's next? I enrolled into the doctoral program, and I asked for signs, and I got a very clear sign. That's too much of a story I can't go into today. And then I quit. I gave them a 2-month resignation. Who does that? I did it because nobody could do my job. And so my integrity would not allow me to do it. So I waited till they hired the next person and I trained them. Because what if I would have left them in a dire need? They would have remembered that. Neiman Marcus is a top tier luxury retailer. If I'm gonna work for any retailer, I'm gonna go to the top tier, me. And that means that how you start, you wanna lead them the right way. To this day, I can call Neiman's for anything that I want. And guess who's one of my clients now? Neiman Marcus. Okay, in the matter of a pandemic. And I'm gonna get to that in a moment to show you how. And I left there. Am I boring anyone? Can I keep going? Awesome. So I hope I'm not boring you all on this amazing social media as well. But I, again, asked for next. And I quit, and I did not have a contingency plan. But I knew that if I jumped off the building, the parachute was gonna open. I knew once I jumped off the building, not literally, please don't jump. Please don't do that. But I knew figuratively, once I jumped, the parachute would open. That's how much faith I have in myself. Bet on yourself first. Okay? And so from that, I'm reaching something in you, am I? Yeah. I feel it. Anyway, I'm sorry that threw it. And so from that, the Art Institute of Atlanta reached out to me. They found me online. When I was about your age, about 25, 21, okay. 21 to 25, I was 24, because I remember, because I started an image consulting firm, and it was called Unique Images. The reason why I did that is because I was the bullied child growing up. I was the sissy boy in the neighborhood that they would call me. But now they all calling me for real. They want my information. But you know, I went through that. I was the different one. Anyway, and I called it that. They found me online because my social media imprint back then was so prevalent. And I would do image workshops for AT&T, Aflac. My mom worked for Aflac, and some other entities. Long story short, the director at the Art Institutes called me. They were opening a branch campus and asked if I would come and do a workshop like this. Oh my God, I feel like I'm about to cry. Oh, don't do it right now. Come back. She asked me to do a workshop. I did it. She called and asked me to do another one. I said, now listen now. I did this first one as a pro bono, but I charge now. Here's the other piece. Your gift, if they're reaching out to you, it has a monetary value to it. I do things and I plant seeds, but when you plant seeds, you expect a harvest, correct? But your harvest is not going to come immediately. So what are you doing, even in the middle of a pandemic, where you're still toiling the ground and not expecting to get something immediately? So you got to continue to plant seeds. I'm living on seeds that I planted 10 years ago, right now. I hope that don't go over somebody's head. Literally, I'm living on seeds that I planted, whether it was a word, action, or deed, that I'm living on right now. So I give on purpose, and I don't look for the result immediately. And I don't even care if the person receives it or not, because I'm doing it for me, not them. So that goes to what I said about her. And so when the second time she asked me, her name is Mary Jo Miller, I would never forget it. So if you're looking, Mary Jo, I salute you. I'm serious, I celebrate you because you helped me get into the space that I wanted. So when I was at Neiman's before I left, my manager knew I was frustrated. During my lunchtime, he says, what do you want to do next? I said, I want to teach on a collegiate level in fashion. He says, go in your office every day for 30 minutes and go online and put your resume. What boss tell you to do this? What boss tell you to do it? He spoke it. He saw more in me than I saw in myself. Let me tell you how it happened. I taught that second class. As soon as it was over, she says, I have an open position to teach one class. Can you teach it? I went back to my manager and I said, they have this open position. I really want to do it, but it's during work hours. He gave me off on Wednesdays and I would go in on a Saturday to make up for that Wednesday. I taught that one class for 50 students. And guess what? All the students in my class, I'm not being arrogant, I'm not, but I know how to teach. And so they said, I will not register for the next class unless Dr. Hammond is there. From there, remember I had quit at this point, Neiman's. I was teaching one class. I started teaching 2 classes. I started teaching 3. They've had me full time, and from there I became the director of the fashion program. I had 75 students in the class, and I grew the program from 75 to 300. I wrote the curriculum for fashion design. That program that they have now, I wrote it. It was under SACS accreditation. That gives me credit for that. Not 1 campus, but 8. I was over 8. 8 campuses. Again, I'm not telling you this from a braggadocious, and I hope you hear my heart when I'm saying this stuff. I'm saying it because I never imagined myself there. Post-COVID, here we go. So keep going, Dr. Hammond. So I went there, and I was there for 8 years. I did some amazing things. God has blessed me. I started working with the President Obama's second term. His organization reached out to me. They saw what I was doing in Atlanta. They had a program called Gap for Community Colleges. And I said, what in the world is that? So clearly I know Gap, the brand, Banana Republic. That's where all these brands come in. Piperline, Athleta, Lululemon, all of them. And they had a program that they really wanted to partner with young people in schools. Atlanta was the test market. So they reached out to me, we used my students, and we would get people from all those brands to come in and do workshops on job success, how to build a resume, what does your LinkedIn profile look like, et cetera, et cetera. And from that, it was a cohort. And even though you were registered for school, you had to register for this. It was like an internship or apprenticeship. And so I had about 110 students to go through the program. And out of the 110, 65 to 75 were employed by one of those brands. And even to date, I have over 50 graduates that are still working for one of the brands. And so all of that to say, I had to reach out to them and say, what did you all do in the midst of a pandemic? So the state of fashion post-COVID, here's a quick little video I want to show. I hope it plays. Oh God, let's see. One moment. And if not, it's okay. Okay, it's okay. I gotta continue. I'm always ready. Okay. It's good. And what that's gonna talk about is a lot of this stuff here. And so I have some commandments, like the 10 commandments. I got some commandments for post-COVID-19. And they may sound funny, but there's a lot of validity in it. So thou shalt try to incorporate trans-seasonal fashion. Why? It's because how many of y'all were in front of a computer most of the time? I didn't know if it was summer, if it was winter, spring, whatever. And so it means I buy clothes which are not periodical, but stylish, relevant and ethical through seasons from all over the globe. I love dressing high-low. Right now I'm wearing a Black designer. They have a little cohort for Black designers in Macy's, and Macy's is one of my partners as well. And so I said, let me find something fashionable for the people in Chattanooga today. What is that gonna be? And so I found this, and the reason why I did it, because it says star. I think everybody in this room is a star. I really do. And the reason why I say that is and not to build nobody up, but if you don't believe you're a star, who else will? Right? Thou shalt follow and promote sustainable fashion. I think you're going to really find this in the midst of the pandemic, where everybody's trash is just out there, but they're really making it upcycling. Everybody's talking about it now. Thou shalt own personal style and return to dressing up to celebrate any occasion. There is no red clap, honey, because I'm not going to save my good pieces. Because we may have another pandemic one day and I got stuff in the closet that I forgot all about. I don't have to go to the store because I forgot I had some stuff that had tags and all that. I'm like, wait a minute, where did this come from? So why save it? Every day is an occasion. Every day is an opportunity to show up and show out and just be fabulous. Guess what? And the reason why I also say that is dressing up, when you walk in the room, you have to own it. I don't change who I am based on the environment I'm doing. They have to change for me, right? And the reason why I say that, because you don't know who you are helping to elevate them to the next level in thought. Because some people are dealing with self-esteem issues. Some people dealing with whatever issues. But you can just brighten somebody's day with a smile, just like what you got on. And if not, it can start a conversation. I always say that, and I was joking, but I'm very serious, where I say I went from the runway to the pulpit. This is literally my ministry. And it starts off with a conversation always. It can be the glasses, it can be a bag that I'm carrying, it could be whatever. They're like, where did you get this? What did you do? That's what I get. They never imagine that they're gonna have a quality conversation because people sometimes judge it. And so in their judgment, you gotta fool. Oh, there's some substance there. Oh, he know what he's talking about. Right? And so I'm not saying that you have a point to prove, but sometimes you do. And sometimes your image can really help curtail that conversation and how it's going to go. I think somebody is trying to come in. They can come in. And is this helping anyone? Yeah. Okay. Consumers, let me move over so they can see on social media. Consumers are more mindful of how their dollars are spent and who received those dollars post-COVID. How many of y'all believe that? Because I'm careful about where my coins go. There's the clear. I need to know where all my money going. Hey, welcome, my dear. Here's the question. So do you agree and why? So this is gonna be interactive. Do you agree with this statement? This can go beyond fashion.
Yes.
Okay, tell me, why do you agree?
I think COVID opened people's eyes to what's most important.
Mm,
So for me, I want to spend it on my family and like what I want to do. So now I'm pursuing this hardcore.
I love it. This as in fashion.
Yeah.
And what do you want to do specifically in fashion?
I have an eco-friendly brand. I obviously do upcycling with denim, but
Love
now I'm branching more into digital fashion because of the metaverse and the crypto community. So
Got it. You're going too fast. You're going to my presentation now.
I'm venturing. Well, that's my inspo for the competition and everything, and it opened my eyes to like, why am I working a financial job with a baby at home with no time to sew? So now my money's invested in business and family.
I love it. Have you heard of SCORE? SCORE.
No.
Write it down. Y'all heard of the Small Business Association?
Yes.
Okay, SBA. SCORE, though, is a free program. Atlanta is one of the biggest chapters, but they have online, so check it out. And what they help businesses do is create marketing plans. They don't just help you create a marketing plan, they assign you a mentor. And so they'll walk you through the program. It's free. The president of the Atlanta chapter is one of my best friends. And so I've worked with them occasionally as well. But there's so many talented mentors that they work with, and not just in fashion, but the business entity alone.
I am so glad you brought about the metaverse and everything because I was nervous that it was going to be over people's heads.
No, well, wait until you see my presentation.
Okay,
So what I was mentioning earlier is that I work with a startup, with the global startup out of Milan. And one of my mentees is a group of women called Beyond the Runway. They're on Instagram, and you should follow them, Beyond the Runway. And they're doing a pitch right now to a luxury retailer. And they are in the 3D space. And one of the founders is known as the Queen of Bitcoin.
So,
There you go. I'll connect you later. I'll connect you later. How consumer shop is changing. Here is my view on the future of what consumers will buy. Consumers are looking at protection and comfort. It's the biggest focus area. Emerging trends are 2-mile clothing. I'll talk about that. Merging of work, play, home, lounging, and living. And the reason why is because I went into, funny story, I was getting a few things to come to Chattanooga because I was like, what is the vibe there? I have stuff already clearly, but I just wanted something, 1 or 2 things new, you know? And I don't know why I went in Old Navy, because I really don't shop in Old Navy, but they have some cute little bags sometimes. But when I walked in, the manager had on a cute little lounge outfit. I said, where is that? She said, the pajamas. I said, nobody ever would have known. So why did you tell me? She said, I just want you to know. I said, okay. I said, but guess what? It goes into my thought process because it's loungewear, and I call it from desk to dinner. That's what I love, those desk to dinner looks. I can be sitting at my desk, but then if somebody calls me, one of my Judies, that's what I call them, they call me, it's time to go for a drink or something to eat. And so I can pick up and I can still look presentable, but I'm still comfortable, right? And then there is a shift towards timeless fashion. So what is a timeless fashion? And I call that, hint, hint, heroes. I call everything in my closet, I always believe in having on one hero. What in the world is a hero? That hero is the conversation starter. That conversation, that winner of the piece in the outfit. I think the shirt today is the hero.
Yes.
Right? But I almost have on 2 heroes because I love the glasses. Aren't they everything? And so this brand here is called Savant and Scholar. And I advertise him so much that he sends me stuff. Like, because I have so many frames by him. I got on a wicked pair for tonight if y'all come to the gala. Just wait. I can't wait to wear it. So you see how excited I felt right there? But it's like this, you'll see it. But anyway, so I wear them, and again, that starts that conversation. But guess what? It's a small brand. And that goes into what I'm saying as well. Post-COVID, I'm going beyond. Baby, I'm going to be up before. And here are some survival instincts. Recovery from the pandemic would concede with the, wait a minute, there's a certain point that I wanted. Oh, yes. Companies surviving the immediate crisis will have made bold and rapid interventions. to stabilize their core business before seeking out new markets, strategic opportunities, and future pockets of growth in a global fashion industry undergoing dramatic transformation. The key word here is bold and rapid interventions, because there are some companies that are out there that were determined to only do things by the status quo. And guess what? They closed. They weren't ready. They weren't even willing to go into social media age. I'm gonna talk about my dad. He's not watching right now, but I'm gonna show him this video later. I told y'all my dad is the pastor. So immediately during the pandemic, guess what I have become? The graphic designer for the church. Because I know how to work Canva. I know how to work Post My Wall and create a flyer. Because Dad, you ain't going in that building, precious. You're not doing that. Like, what world you in? Like, that's the conversation I'm having with him, that he thought he was going to go in the church. You're not going in there. It's a whole pandemic. So what interventions are you going to put in place? Zoom, yes, is one, but there are more options than Zoom. So there's WebEx. There's all these different things that you need to be, and people respond to consistency. What do they respond to? And what do I mean by that? If you're gonna be on social media, be consistent with it. What is your message? Do people know if you have a brand? Do they know that you're there? I'm not picking on you, I'm just saying in general. Do they know you're there? Do you wear your product? Do you talk about your product? Do you have a team that is your advocates? Every small brand needs a cheerleader group. That cheerleader group is that group of people that's out in the community that's speaking when you don't know they're speaking. A true friend and advocate of you is those that speak for you in the room when you're not there. Who is that around you? They don't even have to be your friend, but they have to be someone that supports your brand and vision. And here's the other piece is, do not waver on your cost. Here's my biggest issue when it comes to people with a small brand. If I ask you for your price and I say, you tell me $100, but I'll give it to you for $75, you have already devalued your brand. And I'm not gonna buy it. Let me tell you why, because I can't go in Neiman's and say, how much is this shirt? And they tell me $150. Oh, I'll give you $100. They're gonna call police on me. Security, come get this man. Right? So why would we do that to your own brand? The reason why, because you don't believe in your own brand. People don't want to hear this from me. This is how I talk to my clients. They don't want to hear it. So in a post-pandemic world, it's still a reality world because you still got invoices to pay. I don't do stuff in Jesus' name. I don't. People laugh, but I'm very serious with that. And I don't mean stuff like this. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about if I have a consulting brand and you have a consulting service and you call me, let me tell you what I have stopped doing. During the pandemic, a DM, I can show you two of them right here. Oh my God, Dr. Hammond, I've been following you for so long. Can I meet you for coffee? You see how you laugh? So that's what I'm doing inwardly. Because I'm saying, my response though, yes, I will for 15 minutes. At 16 minutes, you get an invoice from me. Right, in that kind. But beforehand, I didn't do that. I meet up for coffee, they didn't even pay the coffee. They thought I was gonna pay their coffee. So why am I here? That sounds real mean, right? But it's the truth. Because people will prostitute your gift. Y'all know what a prostitute is? It's the oldest profession in the world. People out there, they selling their bodies, men and women, boys and girls. And some of them not getting the full value for what they want. That's what you're doing as a brand. When you tell me that it costs $75 and it really should cost $200 because your time, your materials, the energy that you put in. But if you don't believe in it, I'm gonna pay the $75, and guess what? I'm also gonna do is go to your competition. That sounds real harsh, don't it? But how do you think these businesses are thriving in the midst of a pandemic? This brand right here, he tripled his sales in the pandemic. Tripled his sales in the pandemic by one thing. He was consistent. By two things. His messaging was it was appropriate online. He does not have a brick and mortar store, has never had one. Why would you? If your business is doing that well online, why change it? But what he did have to do though, is go outside of UPS. He had to go to some other things, DHL and others that would get people, because now you're a global brand. UPS is good, but what if I want it overnight? DHL will help me, but if you don't have a business account, I'm not gonna take you serious. I'm not gonna send you no cash app. I'm gonna send you a payment. So here we go. Do you have a business account? $500, that's all it costs to start one. Really $250. $500. So when this is over, at the end of the year, you can write all these things off. The materials that you buy, your marketing can be written off. An intern, pay yourself first. Me coming here to Chattanooga is an expense for me, and I'm writing it right on off. You want to go? Yeah, we can go to lunch. Sure can, because guess what? I already know I'm getting this back. But your trips have to be purposeful. So I date myself once a week. If you don't know how to treat yourself, who else will? Right? Okay, I think I'm going off, so here we go. So this is Cotton Co., a little bit about it. And I told you about it earlier, but let me show you how we are strengthening and helping some of the fashion sectors, making bold in those rapid interventions. So what I did was created some case studies for some brands that I work with in the midst of COVID to show you the results that we have given them, how they have to change some things in their mindset and their business model. So the first case study focused on turning losses into profits for a major apparel retailer post-COVID. So through plummeting profits, it jeopardized the high-end apparel retailers' ambitious growth strategy. So with Co. helped the Apparel Co. develop an aggressive turnaround plan that aligned branding and merchandising strategies across its retail channels. It streamlined and improved inventory management and ensured that it designed and stocked popular products with high margins. So here's the key point. You gotta have things that people want. And you also gotta have things people need. What is something that everybody in this room got right now? A mask. If you're an apparel company and don't have no mask, you're missing out on a sale that you can upsell once they get this amazing shirt. Make it out of denim. I'll buy it. Right? Oh God, where is this? Yes. Here's the story. So the owners of Apparel Co., a clothing and accessory retailer known for its designs, hope to accelerate growth by expanding into adjacent areas and extending its retail network, which included a catalog business. And so what we did was we actually made a virtual lookbook for them. And with the AI, with artificial intelligence, what we also did was created a mock individual that you can go in and see what the products look like before you actually purchase them. And I'm gonna talk about that in a moment. But with profits plummeting by 90%, Apparel Co. recognized that to achieve its ambitious growth targets, it needed to strengthen branding and inventory management and reduce costs to achieve its ambitious growth strategies. So what they were doing was putting too much in marketing that was not working. They had a lot of billboards, they had all that. If people are in the house, they're not looking at no billboards, they're trying to get some groceries. So meet them where they are. Create a virtual platform that meets them. A newsletter was the first thing that we started with all of their clients. And that came out bi-weekly, and it was just fashion tips. It gave them other things. It gave them sale opportunities, all of that. But it was something very current and very relevant. So our approach, working with the Apparel Co. CEO, we developed a comprehensive turnaround plan that included short-term profit gains and long-term initiatives for sustained growth. We align branding and merchandising strategies, focus product development on items of high profitability. What that means is, so let's say that they had loungewear, because they do. They have a line of loungewear that was just amazing. But if you had that on the 5th page, nobody would know that was a key item to sell. You need to put that on the forefront. Make that the only thing that's available, and let's change up the color options. Take everything else off the site. Let's focus on 3 items: men, women, and girls. And guess what? It was gender fluid, so anybody could wear it. Okay? And so from that, their sales automatically went up. And from that, they saw that 90% plummet ended up turning back around. And they saw because of one item. And guess what they didn't have to worry about is buying multiple items, because now what you're doing is saving that money and getting really elsewhere. And so what they also had to do was eliminate a lot of their staff, because you know staff equates to a salary, right? And so with that, they were able to hire back their staff at the same amount without losing any overhead at that point. Okay? So the recommendations: to achieve over $40 million in profit improvements, Apparel Co. launched initiatives to increase overhead savings, as I mentioned, boost its brand image, eliminate less profitable products, as I mentioned, and introduce a new look. The new look even started with the new cover page for their website. And so colors mean everything. People want interaction. They want things they can find very easily. I hate going onto a site that I'm like, where can I find the stuff at? Who is the owner? Where's the submit button? Let's start there. So all those things resulted into improved inventory and product development. The retailer is able to stay ahead of trend and fueling faster growth. The end result: our turnaround plan has reversed Apparel Co.'s return on equity from loss to a 6-fold increase. So they started here. This is where they are now, in the middle of a pandemic. All because they eliminated all the things that people were not buying and focused on that one item that they were. So because I value this client, I can't share their business. So I'm gonna go on. But this one gave me. So I work with Ralph Lauren as one of my clients as well. Ralph Lauren reimagined the Atlanta location post-COVID. So Ralph Lauren engaged Courtney, me, in the early planning stages of its reimagined full-line store in Atlanta. What do I mean by that? So years ago, Ralph Lauren had a brick and mortar space in Atlanta in Lenox Mall. They closed it. They have decided now, because it's such a demand for the brand, that they're going to go back to the same mall that they were in a different location, and they're going to reimagine what this space looks like. So what I did was I met with the key leaders within Ralph Lauren's brand matrix in order to obtain feedback and impressions of what is their idea of what Ralph Lauren is going to bring to the Atlanta market now. So I conducted numerous workshops with Ralph Lauren key leaders in order to synthesize the feedback and really to develop novel approaches to enter the store zone. So some of the approaches that I said to them is that you need a smaller space than you had originally, because a bigger space means more income that you're going to have to make in order to pay the rent. So go into a smaller space. So that's what they did. They had, oh God, what was the store? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm having the brain freeze. So anyway, another retailer, they bought that space, which was literally half the space that they had originally. And so now what that means is that you have a smaller, it's really gonna be about this size right here. It's more of a boutique, which I love. And that means that they can really handle a smaller amount of people coming in, because we're still in a pandemic, right? So you don't have to hire a lot of people. So really they only have, I think, 4 full-time employees. Everybody else is part-time, and they work very many small hours, so probably 15 to 20 hours. But that means now that the overhead is not big. And so you can handle the bandwidth that is coming in, okay? So here's another one, that a brand stack strategies for ingenious jewels. in post-COVID era. She works with jewels that are upcycled. So this is one of her designs here. Brand identity, so we work with a brand to refresh the brand's vision for its line in order to both extend the complement of the existing consciously sourced brand offerings. So this is consciously sourced. So instead of saying sustainable fashion, is consciously sourced because everything, what she's doing, she'll get things from like the beach that people discard. She'll get items from a major jeweler that'll donate something in, and it's their trash, she makes it her trash. Brand positioning, so conducted a market assessment. I think an assessment is good because you need to know the areas where you are, what's working, what's not. Especially in the middle of a pandemic, your clients, are really like you, focusing on family. I'm all about an experience. So I'd rather an experience than a good garment at this point. So I'll get in a car, come back to Chattanooga. I have got to listen, y'all. I love Chattanooga. Like, what have I been missing? Y'all holding out on me. But I don't want to tell everybody that because I don't want too many folks come. But this would be an excursion. It's just an hour and a half from me. Whoever would have thought. But brand positioning, but everybody is not spending a lot because they're not going places. Now they are, because the world is coming back open a little bit safely, prayerfully. And product assortment. So I was working with her. So what she started is something on Facebook, and it's called Mama Stacks. She calls herself Mama Stacks now. And so every Friday she'll do a stack party. And so we help her identify brand ambassadors in different parts of the world. And they go online every Friday and they sell the latest jewelry that she creates. And it sells out every week. And guess what? When the brand ambassador sells it, they get portions of the profit. Instantly, her sales have tripled again because now what she's doing is using her network. And so, because if I ask you to bring a brand ambassador, guess what you're doing? Go tell all your friends. So now your friends have become in my network immediately. How ingenious, right? I don't know her words. Distribution strategy, we analyze current distribution channels and their performance in order to determine short-term and long-term strategies for a sustainable rollout of a revised product assortment. So what I said to her is, let's look at key days and dates that are coming up in events. So you need to create items that go in alignment with that. So if you know that Mother's Day is going to come up, don't do something the day before. You want to have something that's already created. So especially for your clients that are really your ride or dies, you want to let them know that. For Christmas, even if you don't celebrate it, your clients do. So have some for them, right? So it's not about you, it's about your clients. I'm not saying go outside of your comfort zone. That is not what I'm saying. But you also want to be in mind that money is sitting right there on the shelf for you, right? And so why? How dare you leave money sitting out there to go to your competitor if it's there? And so if Christmas is coming, if you don't like Christmas, Kwanzaa. Okay, if you don't like Kwanzaa, New Year's. Because everybody gonna go to somebody event on New Year's. I got a good piece. I can't wait to read. Right, it's like a swirl and just get excited. There we go. So this one here makes me happy. I told you all about Neiman's. So Wear Brims releases a flight collection exclusively in Neiman Marcus. These two young men are graduates of Tuskegee University. We'll pray about them, but they're alphas, and I'm so excited. They're in your age group. I think they're 20, he's a little older, about 24, 25. Wear Brims releases its first collection in Neiman's. Another brand consulting firm were focused on this. However, they did partner with me for some suggestions. So I gave them these bullet points. Focus on brand identity and positioning. Key competitors. Who is your key competitors? Target customer profiles. So what I love about Neiman's is when I was working there, they were ahead of the curve. How many of y'all know that Neiman's actually filed bankruptcy? They filed bankruptcy. They came out of it. However, they still filed. when I worked at Neiman's, when I first started, they did not take Visa, MasterCard. All they took was cash, check, American Express, and a Neiman's card. Katrina happened. Hurricane Katrina. All the transplants moved to Atlanta and Houston. Transplants from New Orleans. And so when they came, they wanted to buy. All they had was cash, a MasterCard, and they had the government subsidized funds that they gave. Do you think Neiman's was gonna turn away that money? Instantly, they changed their business model because of a pandemic, because of something that happened. And so with Neiman's, now what they have done, even from Katrina, which is over 10 years ago, they still have a model that is working for them now that they had to go back to when they came out of bankruptcy. Sometimes, let me tell you this, with the business, I don't know if Zoom just went out. Okay. What was I saying? Sorry. Yes. So I think sometimes with business models or people that have small brands, they miss it because Thanksgiving's coming up, right? Okay. My oldest aunt just turned 85. They're my golden girls, my mom and my two. That's what I call them. My oldest aunt, her name is Barbara, but I call her Babu. Don't ask that. That's my word for her. But she's the cook of the family. Truly big mama household. Like cooks down, like love it. What we will not do though is say that we're gonna come there with no pumpkin pie. No offense. What we also have is a sweet potato pie. And in that, my cousins have now tried to use her recipe to create their own version of this. But guess what? They have the foundation. That's why I'm going with this. So there are modules that are already out there from a business component that you can follow the foundation, but you can add your own little spices to make it your own. So with the sustainability company, what I would urge you, implore you to do is look at others that are out there. What are they doing from a foundational perspective that you can model, but look at what they're not doing right and doing right, and make whatever they're doing fit for whatever you're doing, and clearly curtail it to your audience where it makes sense. Okay. So key industry themes that will set the agenda post-COVID. Diving into sustainable fashion. So this is a brand, all things organic, focusing on that. The customer needs to make the right choice at the register. One needs to buy less and invest into quality rather than indulge into fast fashion and big brands. I'm not gonna tell you that that's what you have to do because I dress high-low. So if I like it, I'm getting it. That's just me. However, I am a little more conscious at this point where things that I don't want, to go into a landfill, but how can I be that person to encourage and really support someone like you that's really focusing on sustainable fashion? I think it's a hero. I think it's a conversation piece. It's something that nobody else is gonna have, that unique item. And sometimes those things come with a higher price point because they put in more time and effort, So in the news, how many of y'all know H&M is launching a sustainable and fabulous line? I love this. Guess what? I cannot wait for December 9th because that's when this is coming out. With the holidays approaching, we can all use a dose of joy. Last year, we spent Christmas in sweatpants. This edition will go all the way, maybe even more over the top. Because listen, I already told my relatives that we're not coming here with no pajamas. That little fad is cute, but we're not doing that in my house. I need y'all to come in tuxedos. I need to see gowns. I need to see all of that. Honey, we go eat dressing and all that in gowns and tuxedos. I just need all of that champagne. Let me tell you what I don't do. I don't have any paper plates in my house. I know I eat on my china every day. Why are we holding this? Why? Why you got it in a curio until somebody died? Honey, use it now. Because life is short, right? Enjoy it. I'm serious. And so all of this regalia, and I'm wearing it for the holidays. So just before the party starts, the Innovation Circular Design Story is the latest addition to H&M's Innovation Stories, a groundbreaking new sustainability initiative that focuses on innovative designs and cutting-edge materials. It designs for those who love to experiment with fashion, those who see getting dressed as a way of expressing themselves. So they're gonna have just amazing pieces with all kind of materials that are, I love vegan leather. They're gonna have that as well. Were anybody at the party last night? So the blazer I had on last night was a vegan leather blazer. Tonight I got a different piece. So I'm gonna show them, see the other pieces. And so this amazing photographer, Raphael Paparotti, translated this image right here. I encourage y'all to go to H&M's website because I was just like, oh God, this is yummy. I don't want to leave this site. This is too much for me to take in right now. So I do not repeat looks would not be the same of the future. I don't know why these folks think they're so fabulous, honey. You can't wear stuff over and over. I had these pants on yesterday. So with the rise of social media obsession of the outfit of the day, images ranking in huge likes, girls and guys were refraining from repeating their outfits and looks. But how fabulous is she? Listen, you can change this up, change the pump, change the belt, you can add a scarf, you can do all those things, and who really cares? Why are they looking at checking you like that anyway? They ain't worried about what you had on. Is it clean? That's all they worry about me now. I don't need no stains now. But now amidst the corona pandemic, the future in fashion lies in stylish, versatile pieces. With lesser number of outfits in our wardrobe, we will be pushed to get innovative and repeat our outfits with smart styling each time. And I just think you can add layers and you can add those conversation pieces, add a scarf, add a bag, add a different mask. I have a cute little mask that I bought. And I was like, oh, this matches my coat that I had on yesterday. Who would have thought? There we go. Digital domination. So digital channels are looked upon as a tool widely used during social distancing protocols. Companies that have not joined the digital bandwagon will have to do so for the recovery phase and may suffer in the long term. It will take some time for the fear of pandemic to subside. Hence, consumers will be on the lookout for brands that have a digital presence and can fulfill the requirements on this platform. Hence, brands must act fast to deliver. And what is the C word that I said? Consistency. Because if they're not, people ain't gonna follow you. And let's be clear, it's not about how many followers you have. Because have these folks buy their followers. Are you organic? Are you saying stuff with substance, with meaning that marries your brand? Like for me, I should have, if people look at all the qualifications, I don't mean this arrogantly, I should have 50,000 followers or more on Instagram. I got almost 6,000. I don't care about that. Because guess what? Half the folks don't even know who they are anyway. But does that validate your brand? No, it doesn't. But are you putting things out there? First of all, I'm not selling anything. So my consulting firm, I only work by referrals. I don't put no prices on my website. I don't do none of that. Because everybody's not for me, and I know that. So people that are my client, they come to me. Build it, they will come. Build it, I'm gonna say this again, build it, and they will come. I don't know who that's for, so don't be scared to build it. The right ones will come, but be consistent, okay? Fashion and technology come together. My thoughts about the role of technology in the future of fashion, like sustainability, technology will be the way of living. Also, technology enables sustainability. It is not the availability of information, it is the filter that is important to have the right tool for technology, okay? So virtual reality will be another addition, will be another addition as the consumers will prefer a digital assistant to help guide them during their shopping experience. Robotics is going to enable a new breed of automated commerce. So guess what? Major brands now are starting to have a lady that looks like this, that will talk to you on their website, that will come to you and tell you what you need to wear. She'll pick out your outfit and she will show you what it looked like and send it to you. Those are the people that don't want to go in the store. I need to go in the store and touch it with my product. But this is the way. This is where the world is going. Vocal is local. A new world calls for a new voice and better strategizing. The pandemic had pushed us to make conscious decisions. Thus, it's crucial to vouch for local, homegrown businesses, which are codependent in nature and have suffered a major setback, even after serving quality products with beneficiary results. Now is the time to go local. Help your friends, support those small businesses. Shop organic and indulge in such labels. I love to promote and suggest local designers and boutiques. And I'm ready to shop. But I mean, I saw a whole group of folks last night and I'm telling them I'm ready to shop and nobody came. I'm like, well, you missed out, so there you go. So Machino was ahead of the curve. This is one of my favorite designers. They predicted the future. They sent literal garbage bags down the runway in 2017. They did this and it was just the rage. So we're gonna do that today. So it's been said that one man's trash is another man's treasure. So, but it's also true that one woman's trash bag is another woman's dress. Using a few simple household items, you can turn this into a garbage bag into an amazing black dress. So what I'm gonna do is give y'all a trash bag, take it home. I want y'all to follow me on social media. Get your phones. You follow me? So go to Instagram. It is right there. My Instagram is IMDRCAH. And my website is drcock.com. You can learn all about me there. And my other one is coandco.com. That's my consultant. Shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. I will answer. Don't worry, I won't send you an invoice. But I always like to leave memorable items. So speaking of brands, I don't sell product, but I sell a service. So I love an experience and to leave you with a resounding impression of what I did. Hopefully, the information I gave you helped elevate your thoughts, help elevate your spirits, and let you know that it's obtainable. So you won't forget me. I have a handy Hammond's candy cane that you can have for the holiday season. Thank you.
They go down.
Of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what I would love for y'all to do, honestly, I'm gonna give you a trash bag. I'm gonna give you about 2 or 3. And I want y'all to use the next few days and create something amazing. Send it to my DM and I'm gonna meet with some of the founders and originators of this amazing program. We're going to vote the best one and whoever wins, I'm gonna send you one of my books. I have 4 books, I'm coming out with my 5th right now. So is that something y'all be interested in? Okay, wonderful. So I'm gonna give y'all.
Oh, we're about to do it right now.
Only because we gotta, yeah. Right.
Y'all, please give a big thank you to the fabulous Dr. Courtney Hammond.
Oh,
Thank you for coming up from Atlanta and
Thank you for
spending
having
some
me.
time with us today. We so appreciate it.
Thank you.
You are amazing.